G'day everyone, my name's Dallas and welcome to another episode of Stream Workshops. Today we're going to be looking at how to use OBS with Elgato capture devices. So I made a video on my gaming channel, Omega Buster, a while back because at the time I was really frustrated with a whole bunch of different tutorials that took like half an hour or like half an hour to 15 minutes to explain just how to use one device. And at the time I was still learning and it just frustrated the hell out of me. I eventually figured out how to do it myself and then realized I should make a video on this because mine took less than 5 minutes to explain and it was kind of clear to the point and people seem to like that. However, I did read a lot of the comments on there and there were a lot of valid questions about, the actual capture card itself, is it worth? Because, the Elgato capture devices are good. However, they come in a few different forms and different versions, and regardless, across the board, these capture devices are quite dear. I think one of the cheapest one, the Elgato HD60S, which is what I use, as you can see on the screen here, is the one I use, and I think that's roughly around 200 Australian dollars. I'll have to double check that. I'll put it on the screen, and I'll put some links in the description below. But I thought we'd maybe just explore this a bit and talk about certain things. So we need to look at, firstly, what are the types of Elgato capture devices that you can get. So we'll just scroll around here. This website, I'll put it in the description as well, talks about pretty much all the different capture cards that you need. So we have here obviously a list of them. So the lower grade ones that are still being sold are everything from the HD60S all the way to the 4K60 Pro. Now you're probably wondering, well, what's the difference? Well, this kind of gives you this here gives you sort of a handy look at what all the differences have. I have the HD60S and it doesn't have like all these different pass-throughs for 1440p or whatever. I'm not doing anything like any huge recording bits, but for what I'm making, I don't really need that. And this, as I said before, it goes upwards of the price, roughly around $200. So just think about how much these cost as well. In regards to the actual use of these, what's important is to also understand the interface and the pre-requirements for all of these things. So before you even think about getting even just like a capture card, like whether it be an Elgato or anything, this is what you need. You need to have a USB 3 port or better on your computer. Your computer needs to have a GTX 600 series or better graphics card. To be honest, most, even some laptops have better graphics card, will have like way better graphics cards, but you got to make sure your PC is not really old. Okay, so you need to make sure that it's it has the usable things. I use a GTX 1080, which is still fairly old, but like I'm still good for the next 3-4 years anyway, considering the 3090 and other things that come out. Also, for your CPU, you need a 4th generation i5 or better in order to process the kind of footage that you're going to do, whether it be for streaming or recording. But what's good is that obviously you have the different bit rates that you use here. So so you can see the big difference here is that once you get to the 4K60S Plus onto the Pro, is that these really jump up. And obviously you're probably going to wonder, well, what's the difference between USB 3.0 and PCIe? PCIe goes directly into your computer. That's pretty much the clear cut I can tell you there. If you don't know what a PCIe slot is, Google it. It's probably better I don't explain it. It'll take a little while. But yeah, and also, as I said before, specifications are here for what you need. For technical bits, so obviously the output that I use, so you use USB 3.0, and that goes directly into the computer. Input, so the input pretty much is with a HDMI that comes out of your console, going into anything from a PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PS5, everything, Nintendo Switch. And the output is obviously the HDMI that goes through to the monitor that you're going to be looking at, watching it on. I use two monitors, so that works for me because I want to have the native monitor that I'm going to see it on, and then I'm going to have my second monitor where I look at OBS. That's how I have it set up. So that's the best one. And these are all the supported resolutions they have here. But I'll show you kind of like on OBS just in a second, as quickly as we can, about how to use it. This might be a bit longer than my older one, but just bear with me for a second. I'll show you. So I'll bring OBS up here. Right now, this is just set on window capture, but we'll switch to, so I stream as well on Twitch. So I go to my general one here. So this is my kind of general look here. Like everything will load up in a sec. So what you do here is that if you want to add a capture device, you need to go to pretty much what you do here Make sure I have it set up. Okay, cool. So if you have an Elgato capture device set up, what you need to do is that, I've just deactivated it. So this is what it looks like when you have it. This is when you're like, so it's recognized by OBS, but there's no signal to it. To add one, all you need to do, I'll just do a desktop capture here so you can actually see what I'm doing. Maybe you guys can see it. 1 second. Display capture. Okay, you're going to see heaps of windows, so I apologize about that. So pretty much from here, what you need to do, like you see, down you see into this abyss of a tunnel, you click onto here, and then you need to go onto add, then you go all the way down to video capture device, and yep, call it whatever you want. You can call it something such as, say, Elgato if you want to, just so you can keep track of it. All right, and then it asks you to look down here for a few separate things. So you can see on the side here. So it'll bring up the properties for the Elgato. So over here, you have the device tab. You go down to Elgato Capture HD. Okay, and that's where you select it. Cool, awesome. So what happens with it sometimes if you're using a console is that when after you've maybe used it once or twice, it'll come up as either no signal or please wait. It'll be one of those two things. And what I do is, in order to sort of do a soft reset or to fault find this, because sometimes it's stuck there forever, there are 3 things you need to do. First up, what you do is that if it says please wait, go deactivate. It just, all it does is temporarily deactivates the software, the device, and disconnects it from the OBS. Then reactivate it, and then you just wait for a sec. It kind of figures out itself, pops up again, and usually that fixes my problem. The second problem being is that Elgato has its own capture software in the background that's running called Elgato. It's like Elgato capture software, whatever it is. You'll see it in your control. Your settings or whatever, and you'll see it. What you do is you'll go Control Alt Delete, go into your management section, and you go into applications, and you'll see it somewhere there. All you need to do for that is you need to pretty much just end that. You need to make sure that it is not running in the back. It is not running in the background. Otherwise, OBS detects that it's being used by a different source. That's what happens. And the third thing is that what you need to do is sometimes you need to power cycle it. So you disconnect it from your computer, you wait for a couple seconds, and then you reconnect it. That's another thing you can do. Those are the 3 different ways that I do it. So moving on from here, what you want to do, because obviously this is a default resolution here, you can either, to avoid kind of that cross-contamination between the Elgato capture software and OBS, I just do the resolution here. Otherwise, you can do it in the software. But I go to change your resolution, custom. Go to custom, and then choose your desired resolution. My resolution for this one is usually 1920, which is fine. FPS match, and I go 60. Between these 3, I choose. It doesn't matter. Video format, it doesn't matter for me. Color space, whatever. Buffering, you want to go to enable because it's a console. And then for output audio, audio output mode, if you want to be able to hear the audio come through on your desktop, you want to go into here and you want to go to either one of these 2. It's different for everyone else I found from the comments I've said, but just play with it because it will change the difference. And it makes a hell of a difference doing this because you want to be able to hear, say, all your stream alerts and all that stuff. You don't want to have 2 sets of earplugs in you know what I mean? So you want to go from here, just choose one of these. I'm pretty sure it's direct sound I chose for last because I haven't touched it in a while. But I'm pretty sure it's either direct sound or wave out. Play between those 2. That way your game audio will come up onto your desktop and it becomes part of your desktop audio lot here. So you can monitor how loud the game is there and actually see it work. So you choose that one. And then from there, you're good to go. You chose the resolution, you're fine. So obviously I'm already set here. With my capture device. Where am I? Let's see here. Cool. Still at no signal, but that's fine. It's because I have all that stuff there. So we're still here at no signal. Obviously, you want to make sure with your Elgato as well is that, as I say before, that usually another thing that's happened to me in the past with this is that I've had a problem where I actually had to change out my USB-C cord going into it. So also, because you can get replacement cords. So I had to replace my USB-C 3.0 that goes into my computer, and then because the Elgato device itself actually has a USB-C input there. So you just do that. If you're wondering like how it's actually supposed to be set up, it's usually, let me try and see if I can do this for you. So this kind of has a good thing here. So you see here on the image, right, so this one is the input. This small cord here is the one you get with it, which is USB-C. And then this one here is your HDMI that runs out of your console going into it. And then this cord goes into the monitor you're going to see the game on. Now, if you don't have a second monitor, obviously there's not much you can do. Or if you want to put it to a TV, whatever you want to do. But if you, for any reason you don't have it, you don't need to have that connected. It'll work fine here. But thing is, you'll just have to preview everything through OBS. And it can be a little bit messy because you have sounds and alerts popping up, and it might make you lose focus on the gameplay if you're streaming, for example. And also I found it's not really that great in regards to preview, because sometimes it has a bit of lag. And the last thing I actually wanted to touch on is, we'll go back onto the stream overlay. Sorry, I've got like a few overlays here. So another thing you need to do, I'll go to display capture once more, 1 second. I have to like change a few of these. Okay, so one more thing you actually need to do is you need to go here, go to your Elgato capture device properties. That was the last thing I forgot to do. So when it comes to FPS or your highest FPS, sometimes, I've only had this a couple times on my Switch, but sometimes like you'll see on your preview that the actual like game, the game starts to lag a bit, as in the frames start to skip or it lags. The way to fix this is you simply just, between these three, you switch it to one of these and hit OK. And you're done. Also, I use audio output desktop wave out. This is my actual one. So that's the one I use. Give it a shot if you need to. So definitely do that. In regards to what's your bitrate, depends on your internet connection. You want to have something that has, more than 40 Mbps for your upload if you can help it. Obviously in Australia, I've got a little bit more than that, so I'm pretty good. But be sure to check your internet connection, and also maybe Google just what your actual way to actually your upload speed. So what's your capacity to actually stream images and video to the internet and stuff. So that's one other thing you need to check before even thinking about this stuff. So yeah, let me know in the comments if this helps for you or not, but that I can't stress enough is that you need to make sure you have all the pre-requirements before you do this, because it is expensive. It's quite an expensive hobby, okay? So you want to make sure 3.0 or better, GTX 600, and have an i5 CPU or better. But most people who are gamers or have gaming as a hobby know this. But obviously, there was one other thing, because a few of you are Mac users. So I wanted to make sure that as well, because you can use it with Mac. I don't suggest using it with a Mac. I would suggest using it. I still suggest a PC for this sort of stuff. But these are the Mac specifications here. So OS, Mac OS Sierra or newer, AMD, NVIDIA. I mean, well, you can't really change it too much. But these are the specifics you need to actually get it to work with a Mac. So be sure to follow that for all our Mac users out there. But I don't really use Mac, so I can't really help you out there too much. By the way, guys, sorry for making this almost a 15-minute video, but I hope that it helped you. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about it, but I hope that it helps. All right, check it out, and I'll get back to you on any comments and try and reply to you guys in there. But I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. See you later.